There we go. I am just going to go to a full screen and I am going to start. So welcome everyone to the 2022 annual meeting of the membership of the OLLI at Berkshire Community College. The meeting sequence of event will start with our two guest speakers. I'll then call the meeting to order and make my remarks, followed by Judith's, and then our treasurer, Len Tabbs, will make his annual financial report. We'll then have a Q&A. Next, our thanks to our outgoing board members. And finally, we'll announce board election results and adjourn the meeting. I'm going to ask that you place any of your questions into chat as they occur to you as Judith, Len, and I speak. We'll hold all your questions until all three of us have spoken and then answer them during the Q&A. So let's begin. It's always a pleasure to introduce our first speaker, who's going to update us all on what's going on campus. But before I do, I want to take a moment to thank Dr. Kennedy for the lengths that she went to ensure that the OLLI board members and OLLI and BCC staff were all involved in the search process for our new executive director. It goes without saying that this was an extremely important hire for both OLLI and BCC. And approximately two dozen of us participated in the process and provided feedback. So Ellen, thank you so much. And now I will introduce OLLI's best friend and biggest supporter, the president of Berkshire Community College, Dr. Ellen Kennedy. Ellen?
Thank you so much, Barbara. And it is always an honor and a treat to be celebrating another year of OLLI at Berkshire Community College. I want to extend a very special thank you to the board and for their hard work and focus and creativity and innovation to keep us always moving forward and to live, eat, drink, and sleep all things OLLI. Barbara, we can't, none of us could do this without you. You have shown us graceful leadership and grace under pressure and real focus on what truly matters to OLLI and to our community. And I have appreciated the support that you have provided the staff in this transition period, meeting every week with them to make sure they have an understanding of what needs to happen and how it connects back to OLLI. I also want to thank our members and their many ways of contributing to the vibrancy of the college and our Berkshire community. We've spoken about this in recent years, but it can't be noted enough. OLLI created community in a time that could have been very isolating and lonely. And we have members now throughout the world, and we are grateful for each and every one of you. I want to extend a special thank you to Barbara Lane, Mal Wasserman, and Eric McNamara, who served on that search that was just described to you for the executive director of OLLI. And you'll meet the new person in just a few minutes. I also want to thank the board for their careful review of materials and thoughtful vetting of the finalists. I'm overjoyed with the outcome. OLLI does so many things. I'm going to touch on one and another in a few minutes, but mentoring our students, it has had such a positive impact. And as the college continues to find ways to create a sense of belonging and community, the mentors are an important ingredient in all of that, and helping our students see themselves or understand a field, a work, a way of work, what other additional education they need is so incredibly important. And I am so grateful to all the attention and effort our mentors put into learning our community, to learning the services at the college, to learning the services outside the college that our students could take advantage of, and for connecting them in so many different ways to their own resources and extended network of connections. I wanted to give you a very short update on the college. These are challenging times for most of higher education, and particularly for community colleges. Community colleges saw the greatest enrollment decline of any higher education segment. Our students were on the front lines in fighting the pandemic. They are essential workers, caregivers, parents, and sometimes they live without a safety net, as our mentors would attest. We are doing all that we can to support our students, and we're grateful to the Massachusetts legislature and Governor Baker for supporting a unique program to provide wraparound services to our students. It's called Success, Supporting Urgent Community College Equity Through Student Services. And we're already seeing the impact of that program on persistence. Just as I mentioned, OLLI was a beacon of hope and connection through the pandemic, so too is and was our college for many of our students and their families. If you've been to the campus, you know we are a giant construction site with new things at every turn and different ways to navigate our campus. We also recently opened the Berkshire Science Commons Makerspace, which will complement the Berkshire Innovation Center, as well as a recording studio where we hope some great podcasting will eventually be happening. This fall, we'll be hosting a ribbon cutting to celebrate the One Stop, which will give a true sense of entry to the campus, and many of our other projects that we did not properly celebrate. I hope each of you will consider joining us for these festivities, and we'll make sure you know all about them. I know some of you eagerly anticipate a food option when you return fully to the campus. We hope to have a plan in place this fall. Currently, our own Kevin Kennedy is back several days a week providing breakfast and lunch options. At our recent Falconer Awards, a celebration of student excellence, often the top students in each program, Barbara Lane, board chair, brought greetings and congratulations from OLLI and shared how OLLI was honoring this academic excellence in a tangible way. Each student had a book chosen for their discipline. A book plate was inscribed with their name and program, and noting that it was a gift from OLLI at Berkshire Community College. It is such a special and unique way for OLLI to share in our celebration and recognize the academic acumen of our students. I'm including a link to Zine, our student literature journal, in the chat. I hope you will visit the website and make your way through this online journal to see the talent of our students and the complexity of their thinking and creativity. As I wrap up my remarks, I thank each of you for your commitment to OLLI, and I celebrate our extraordinary good fortune to have this relationship with the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. There are just 3 OLLIs in the nation that are affiliated with community colleges. We know we are in very good company, and we are honored to host this program. We know for some of you, this is your first formal interaction or connection to a community college. We hope you take pride in that connection, and I'm always happy to speak with any of you about what is happening on our campus, in the Commonwealth, and in the nation related to community colleges. Community colleges are uniquely American. If your schedules allow, on Friday, June 3rd, at 4:30 at Tanglewood, we will have our first in-person commencement since 2019, and we'll be celebrating the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. And we would love to have you join us, as you are, in fact, Berkshire community students and can be there to celebrate your student mentors and also mentees, and also your fellow students at Berkshire Community College. So I extend my very best good wishes to each of you and to the great work that is OLLI in Berkshire County and the prominent role we play in this community because of all of your excellent work. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Ellen. As I think we all know by now, our new executive director, Carol Allman-Morton, will be on board in mid-June. I am counting the days, and we're delighted that she's here with us today. Carol will be coming over to us, having spent 12 years at Amherst College, where she is currently the director of alumni engagement. Prior to that, Carol was the assistant director of the Brandeis Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. So she is no stranger to OLLI. It's now my pleasure to introduce our new executive director, Carol Allman-Morton. Carol.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am so grateful to be your next executive director. And I know that I have very large shoes to fill. I'm looking forward to getting to know you and to working with OLLI volunteers and members and the staff team to guide this spectacular program that you have all built together. I can't wait to dive into work with volunteer leaders on the curriculum and the program at large. I figured I'd just tell you a little bit about myself. Barbara kindly, thank you for introducing me, kindly gave you a little bit of my professional story. But I'll just also say I'm the part-time minister of the Unitarian Universalist Meeting of South Berkshire down in Housatonic. I have a large kitchen garden outside my window, 2 adult children, a one-eyed cat, a nervous dog, and I'm married to a UCC minister named Tad. I am passionate about lifelong learning and community building, and I'm really excited to be here today to learn more about what will be at the top of the agenda for me when I officially start in June. And so I'm just going to keep this really short and say I can't wait to get to know you all. I'm ready to listen, and I'm so looking forward to what comes next. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. And again, we so look forward to your joining us in the very near future. Take care and thank you. And I will now call the meeting to order and begin remarks. In preparation for comments today, I thought I'd start by reviewing my comments to you last day. The very first sentence read, and I'm quoting here, "As the light at the end of the tunnel regarding the pandemic has grown brighter and brighter, I've been looking back on the challenges our OLLI has faced over the past 15 months or so." End quote. My very defective crystal ball obviously failed to predict the arrival of the Omicron variant, which would end up delaying our reintroduction of in-person classes. It also did not anticipate our having to replace 2 of our 3 amazing staff members in the matter of months. So much for crystal balls. That said, I'm delighted to report that once again, our board, staff, and various committee chairs and members and other OLLI volunteers have continued to work together through these challenges, and our OLLI is in many ways stronger than it has ever been. Len will get into the details regarding our finances for the current fiscal year, but I can say that our financial position is strong. While Judith will provide our class enrollment figures and other statistics since last year's annual meeting in her comments, I can report that as of this morning, our current OLLI membership stands at 1,478. That's only 1 member short of the all-time high of 1,479 members that we reached on March 19th of this year. I can also report that 21% of Berkshire OLLI members live beyond 50 miles from Pittsfield. That's the exact same percentage I mentioned in our annual meeting last year. To just briefly review some of our accomplishments since then, we did successfully reintroduce some in-person classes this spring semester, although in-person enrollments were a bit below our expectations, probably because of lingering concerns over COVID. I took Stephen Somkin's course, Aeschylus 2.1, and it was such a joy to finally be back in the classroom, in person, reading and discussing the plays with some of you. Thanks to the efforts of our development committee, with Ben Lipson as its chair, overall financial contributions to our 2021 annual appeal exceeded our budgeted amount and also exceeded the amount we collected in the prior year by roughly $3,000. I know our 2020 annual appeal is months away at this point, but I ask that when you do receive this year's annual appeal letter, that you consider all that OLLI means to you and that you then give what you can. Thanks to the efforts of our SIG coordinators, Monica Sinclair, Cone, we added a number of new sharing groups, including chamber music, cross-country skiing, paper crafting, and painting. Monica and Bruce also introduced a successful SIG open house and plan on repeating that event. While COVID has been a challenge for our Mentoring for Success program because it's depressed enrollment at the college and made in-person meetings between mentors and mentees difficult, the steering committee introduced a pizza gathering for National Mentoring Day for students, faculty, mentees, and mentors that was well attended, and it has also increased program marketing efforts. Thank you to Committee Chair Bob Braddock, steering committee members, and of course, our amazing OLLI mentors. OLLI members Art Sherman, Bob Braddock, Kate Kidd, and James Rosenstein have been our representatives at the Tech Impact Collaborative, a collaboration among Berkshire OLLI, the BIC, the Berkshire Innovation Center, and One Berkshire that's working to grow a more inclusive digital and tech economy here. To date, the collaborative has completed an assessment of the Berkshire's digital economy, and an analysis of the assessment results has produced 7 core strategies to grow the local digital economy over the next 5 years. The next phase will be the implementation of those strategies. We're so excited that Berkshire OLLI is involved in this vital endeavor for our region. The press release outlining the Tech Impact Collaborative's efforts to date is accessible on the OLLI website. Our diversity committee has drafted and the OLLI board has approved a Berkshire OLLI diversity statement that will be posted on our website shortly. In February, several diversity committee members also attended a regional workshop on DEI issues, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion, along with representatives from 7 other lifelong learning institutes. This group hopes to meet periodically, and I want to thank board member Erin McNamara for acting as our liaison with that group. Our membership committee under co-chairs Ellen Quabier and Monica Sinclair have continued to reach out and welcome new members, to check in with new members 6 months into their first year, and to hold online new member chats that have successfully placed new members on committees and in shared interest groups. We are first and foremost a lifelong learning community, and our 5 curriculum committees and distinguished speakers series and university days committees have continued to provide all of us with outstanding content semester after semester and year after year. Much thanks to chairs Richard Maturo, Steve Tobin, John Dixon, Mal Wasserman, Kate Kidd, Ellen Quabier, Hope Hagler, Tony Siegel, Andy Fisher, Chris Gaudet, and Shelley Sturman. I can't repeat often enough that without you and your committee members, there simply is no OLLI. So what's in store for the immediate future? First, our current 3-year strategic plan will expire on June 30th. Back in the fall, Board Vice President and Governance Committee Chair Gordon Josephson formed a strategic plan working group to develop our next plan, which will take us through June 30th, 2025. At that point, we will have been in existence, if we go back to the creation of Bill, for over 30 years. So starting back in the fall and with Gordon as our chair, Bob Braddock, Kate Kidd, Will Singleton, Steve Tobin, Mal Wasserman, Harriet Whetstone, and myself have been hard at work. The working group has gone to great lengths to involve as many stakeholders as possible in the planning process. Those efforts have included holding group exercises using the SOAR strategic planning model, conducting a series of focus group meetings, and distributing various surveys. We also plan on in-person meetings with representatives of our educational, cultural, and community partners. Next, we also feel that determining the in-person versus remote mix of classes will be an ongoing process in the near future. This is not simply a matter of determining how we get through COVID. As I mentioned, a significant portion of our membership now resides beyond the Berkshires. We're going to need a mix of offerings if we're going to continue to attract and retain them. I also want to make the point that remote classes are not solely an accommodation to our long distance members. Our ability to offer classes and individual speakers remotely allows us to attract lecturers regardless of where they're located. It provides our snowbirds with the opportunity to take classes throughout the winter, OLLI members who are homebound for any length of time or have transportation issues can continue to participate in our offerings. And OLLI members have started to appreciate the convenience of taking a mix of in-person and remote classes. Of course, I want to reassure you that OLLI's lecturers' preferences will always come first. Some classes will always lend themselves to an in-person format, and will always want to offer in-person classes so we can continue to enjoy the social interaction they offer. We're also committed to renewing and strengthening our relationships with our educational, cultural, and community partners. With our new executive director on board, we'll be looking for opportunities to work jointly on programming and ways to increase our visibility through collaboration on an ongoing basis. And finally, of course, we plan on working with the members of our curriculum committees to expand and strengthen our already outstanding programming. So I want to close my remarks today by asking something of each of you. We always say that we're a volunteer-fueled community of lifelong learners, and that is certainly true. But in order to maintain a vibrant learning community, we need to tap into the sum total of what we all bring to OLLI. Our life and professional experiences, our varied educational backgrounds, and our connections within the larger community. Throughout the roughly 28 years of our existence, first as Bill and now as an OLLI, we've been blessed with a relatively small percentage of extraordinary volunteers, amazing members who've given of their time and talents unsparingly year after year, and in a few cases over a couple of decades. More of us need to step up and teach a course, approach a friend or colleague about teaching for OLLI, join or chair a committee, form a shared interest group, and I can go on. I mentioned in my remarks at our 25th anniversary gala a few years ago that one important key to our success has been that we think of our OLLI as a work in progress. It's our collective, never completed work of art. That frees us to be flexible, creative, and up to the task when faced with both opportunities and challenges. More of us need to be participating in that intentionally never-ending process. Thank you. And now I'm going to introduce our new administrative assistant, Judith Weiner, for her remarks. But I want to say a few words before I turn it over to Judith. As we all know, our longstanding executive director, Megan Wilden, left at the end of March, only 2 weeks after Judith stepped into the position that Andy Otteson had vacated at the end of January. Our new executive director, Carol Morton, won't be on board until the middle of next month. With some help from Andy on evenings and weekends, Judith and Ray Langsdale both have done an outstanding job working to keep us moving forward during this transitional period. And I want to take the opportunity to thank them both for their very hard work on behalf of the entire OLLI membership. Thank you for the applause, Carol. They have earned it and more. And with that, I will turn it over to Judith. Judith?
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Barbara. It is my pleasure today to share some facts and figures with you and let you know about some of our upcoming events. To register for our upcoming events and our Summer One semester and any of our programs, please visit our website, berkshireolli.org. I'm going to share my screen to help with this. Okay, so as Barbara alluded, our membership is growing. In this chart, we'll show you how we have grown over since the pandemic began and just before. It's a truly incredible thing, and commendations to Megan and the whole OLLI team before I arrived that have helped to grow and everybody's wonderful work and programs. So as of today, and actually since this morning even, we have grown even more. On May 17th last year at the annual meeting, we had 1,382 members. Today we have 1,479 members, reaching our all-time high. That is a growth of 7% since last year. As Barbara alluded, 21% of OLLI members live more than 50 miles from Pittsfield, joining us by Zoom from all over the country. Our semester courses are the backbone of OLLI's programming. Beginning with Summer 1 2021 through Spring 2022, we had 1,962 people registering for OLLI courses. We have hosted lectures from authors and distinguished speakers. Over the past year, we have had 7,506 people attend these programs. Barbara alluded to our special interest groups. OLLI SIGs are a great way for members to pursue a passion on a continuing basis, and the number and variety of SIGs is growing. In the last year, we have grown from 14 groups to 19. New groups include paper crafting, painting, listening to chamber music, and genealogy. There are several other SIGs in the pipeline, including meditation, vegan cooking, nonfiction, writing, and Scrabble. Please let us know if you're interested in these. We will happily connect you to each other. In April of this year, Ellen Quabier, who's one of the chairs of the membership committee, and I attended the OLLI National Conference in Colorado. While there, we met and learned with people from 125 OLLIs around the country. We are one of only 3 OLLIs associated with a community college. Many OLLIs have struggled to retain their membership and programming through the pandemic. We are one of 10% of OLLIs that have grown during the pandemic, and that's just amazing. We've also learned that we have a large breadth and depth of courses and events compared to other OLLIs. We are highly volunteer driven, and during the conference, we received feedback many times that we have high quality programming and have participants from around the country and from as far away as Hawaii. Now I'm going to share some upcoming programs that we have with you. First off, we have the 2022, Mona Sherman Memorial Lecture featuring Congressman Jamie Raskin. Congressman Raskin has represented Maryland's 8th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives since 2017. In Unthinkable, Congressman Raskin tells the story of the 45 days at the start of 2021 that permanently changed his life and his family's as he confronted the painful loss of his son to suicide, lived through the violent insurrection in our nation's capital, and led the impeachment effort to hold President Trump accountable for inciting the political violence. Tickets have sold out for this event at the Mahawi. However, you can see it via live stream available from community television of the Southern Berkshires. No registration is required for the live stream access, and there is a link available to that on our website, and we will be sharing that with everyone in an upcoming email. Next week, we have the OLLI Distinguished Speaker Series presents Professor John Nordell on Cultivating Creativity, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. The premise of this course is that a creative mindset can be consciously cultivated. Professor Nordell will explain key ideas from his course, including how the act of creating can lead to creativity itself. Registration is available on the website, and we will have more information in upcoming emails. Following that, on May 26th, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Zoom, our OLLI Distinguished Speakers series also presents Professor Yael Granot, an assistant professor of psychology at Smith College. Her research focus is psychology and law. The topic is Psychology and Law Video Evidence. The talk will discuss the interdisciplinary study of psychology and law and how psychological science can be used to explain events in the courtroom and other legal settings. The OLLI Special Events Committee is excited to present Americana to Me at the Ted Shawn Theatre at Jacob's Pillow. Norton Owens will start the day at Jacob's Pillow with a talk before lunch, followed by lunch and the performance. Registration is limited to 60 participants, so sign up early if you are interested. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting those of you who I have not yet had the pleasure, and I will turn it back to Barbara.
Thank you so much, Judith. And talk about OLLI members who give their time and talents unsparingly. I'm now going to turn it over to Len Tabs. Len is a former OLLI board president, our long-term treasurer, the co-creator of our second summer semester, and one of the moderators of our ever popular Today's Headlines class. So Len.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Judith, would you put up the income statement? I want you to turn your focus to the income statement, and we'll see if we can make it a little bigger for you. Or you can just squeeze your screen. Course income and membership dues are the two main revenue drivers. They're nearly 95% of our total revenue. Now on this chart, for clarity's sake, we do not show the budget or last year because it would just be too busy. The 9-month number of 112,885 is on a path to surpass our annual budget of 120,000. Remember again, this is for the period of 9 months ended March 31. We still have the summer 1 semester to go and 3 months worth. We do not expect to do as well as last year when we were totally locked in our homes with COVID protocols. By the way, the annual budget for course income this year is 120,000. The 9-month membership dues number of 63,720 already surpasses our annual budget of 60,000 and will surpass the last year number of 71,000 when we finish out the fiscal year ended June 30. Revenue for Distinguished Speaker Series, as well as special events, will also exceed our budget by the time June 30 rolls around. Our success in the revenue numbers, again, can be directly attributed to the Zoom environment and the growth, as you saw in our membership numbers. Contributions to OLLI, as Barbara mentioned, for the 9 months, including the annual appeal, produced 29,367, and we have an additional 2,500 for the upcoming Northeast Indigenous University Day program. The endowment account, we lost $34,000 or 1.3% since June 30 of last year. On the expense side, our growth in membership required that we add to staff to keep up with the workload. The expense number of total of $148,950 compares to $99,000 or nearly 50% higher than that last year. While the 50% higher may sound like a rather high number, bear in mind we had to build up the office staffing to keep up with the membership growth. We also spent more in advertising, printing, and credit card costs to protect the course income number. Net for the 9 months, the 9-month period ended March 31, we had net operating income of nearly $40,000. I expect this number to be slightly less by the time the full year rolls around June 30. To recap the income statement, we operated for the second full year in a Zoom COVID environment, and we remained profitable. We added to the office staff to provide stability for present and future operations. We met and will exceed our revenue expectations again by the time this fiscal year ends. If you put up the balance sheet, Judith. On the balance sheet side, we nearly have $64,000 in free cash in the bank and $189,000 or $89,500 in restricted cash. 187,000 of it is the result of a bequeathment to finance our performing arts programs, and 2,500, as I mentioned, for the University Day Northeast Indigenous Project. Last year, for the full year, OLLI had a net operating income of 85,720. If you add that number to the 939,475 I showed on the income statement, that combined is 125,125 that is due from the college to reimburse us for the income. This will come over time as we're searching, and time is kind of on our side as we're searching for a higher type investment vehicle. The endowment fund at March 31 was at 2,561,000, made up of 63% stocks, 35 bonds, 2% cash. We also have $25,000 left for funding the executive director's salary as per the Osher Foundation agreements. If we still have memories of last year's meeting, I showed that we owed the college $60,000 for prior advances made to OLLI during darker financial times. I'm pleased to say that was repaid in May of last year. To recap my presentation, as Barbara stated, your OLLI at BCC chapter is in the strongest financial position it has ever been. This will certainly allow us to continue our mission and to explore new ways to manage our growth, whether it be Zoom or hybrid or back to classroom. Now, this concludes my remarks. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Len.
Okay, back to Barbara, I guess.
Yes, thanks so much, Len.
Okay.
Okay, so we are now ready for our Q&A. Ray, do you have any questions for Judith, Len, and myself?
Not at this time. It doesn't look like we've got any questions coming in. If anybody's got any questions, we do have a hand raised though. Can we, and this is, oh no, his hand is no longer raised. But Susan Dana now has her hand raised. Shall we let Susan talk, or do we want to have her put her question in chat?
Well, certainly if you can, if you have the ability to unmute her, certainly.
All right, Susan, if you can unmute yourself, you can ask us a question. There we go.
All right. The raised hand is a fluke of my iPad, and I don't know what I can do about it. So it's I have no questions. Thank you. I think you're all doing a splendid job.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so Ray, nothing else that you can see.
Nope.
All right.
Susan raised her hand again, but we're just going to ignore that.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that concludes probably the briefest Q&A I've ever been involved in. Let's see. As we did last year, we conducted the vote for board openings via SurveyMonkey again this year. And before I announce the board election results, I want to take a moment to thank Shel Goldberg, Will Singleton, and Art Sherman, who will be stepping off the board at the conclusion of today's meeting, each having completed 2 consecutive 2-year terms on the OLLI board. I'm really going to miss their thoughtful board participation, but look forward to Art, Will, and Shel continuing their committee work. Will on the university days and diversity committees, Shel on our development committee, and Art as a member of the Tech Impact Collaborative. Thank each of you for all you've done and continue to do for our OLLI. And now I'm delighted to report that Bruce Cohen, Erin McNamara, and Steve Tobin have each secured a second 2-year term on the OLLI board with an overwhelming majority of votes. I'm also delighted to report that Len Burrows, Bob DeRochers, Shireen Nash, and Colleen Rossi have secured a first 2-year term, also with overwhelming majorities. So thank you all. Before we go off, I just want to again mention the upcoming Mona Sherman Memorial Lecture taking place at 5 p.m. on Saturday, May 28th at the Mahawi Theater. And this year's guest speaker, as Judith mentioned, will be Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. And with that, I am going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for attending. Ask that you all stay safe and healthy and enjoy the springtime weather that has finally arrived. So take care, everyone, and we'll see each other hopefully in person very soon. Bye-bye.